Hey guys, my name is Lilly and today I want to show you how you can make your own tomato sauce. So right now I'm in my kitchen and I've already prepared all of the stuff that I need to can and make tomato sauce. And these are the jars that I'm using today. They are by the company Fido. They have half a liter of capacity and I really love them because they are really broad and they stack really nicely onto each other. And also they are used with these rubbers here, and I make sure that I change them out every year, so I don't use one rubber twice, and that's just to make sure that the jars seal perfectly. Alright, then I have some special canning equipment here, and this is also to make it easier to fill the jars. And now we are going to go and collect some tomatoes. Alright, so this is my suburban garden, and finally the tomatoes are ready to be picked. And it's really important that you only take tomatoes which are really red and which have riped. So these ones are still too orange, okay? So only take the red ones for the best flavor. And these are the tomatoes inside of my greenhouse, and I have loads in here too, which I can use today. So this is what we got. Let's go back into the kitchen. Okay, the water is boiling now. And now let's put in the jars. And I want to make sure that they are submerged in the water. And I let each jar boil like 2 minutes or so. Yeah, and this is a really important step that you definitely don't want to skip, okay? And you want to throw in the rubbers too. Meanwhile, I want to wash my tomatoes. Alright, so these are the tomatoes after I washed them, and as you can see, some of them are damaged, and that's because we had some hail. But this is not really a big deal, so you can still take them for your tomato sauce. Also, I'm not going to peel the skin, because first of all, I don't see a reason. Some people do that for aesthetics, but I don't really care how the tomato sauce looks. So if you want to do that, you can remove the skin, and also if you want to, you can remove the seeds inside of the tomato, but I rather keep them in my sauce because seeds are very nutritious. And the next thing that I want to do now is I want to weigh the tomatoes, and let's see how many kilograms we have here. Oh, we have almost 3.5 kilograms, but the container also weighs something. Okay, the container weighs 240 grams. Okay, so right now my hands are really clean, so I want to put on the rubbers right now. And now it's time to cut the tomatoes, and I always make sure that I cut out the green part here, which is the part where the trunk is connected to the tomato plant. So I don't like this in my sauce, and that's why I cut it off. And the rest of it I just cut into small pieces. Alright, and now I want to measure the weight again. So now we have a little bit under 3 kilograms of tomatoes. Alright, and for every kilogram of tomato I want to use at least 3 garlic cloves. 1, 2, 3, okay. And then for each kilogram of tomatoes, I'm going to use a medium-sized onion. Okay, so we have our tomatoes, we have garlic and onions, and then we need some herbs for the tomato sauce recipe, and today I'm going to use the classical Italian herbs that you use for tomato sauce. So first of all, here we have a twig of rosemary, and then we have a little bit of thyme, and then you can use oregano or marjoram or both. So this here is oregano, and marjoram this year wouldn't grow in my garden, so I only have it in a dried form. And if you can, please use fresh herbs because they taste so much better in the tomato sauce. Next we need some salt, and for each kilogram of tomatoes we use 1 teaspoon with salt. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we use 1 teaspoon of pepper. Alright, so now we have everything we need, and first we want to fry the onions and the garlic, and I'm using the same pot as before, and it's a really high one, which is great because then the tomato sauce is going to stay inside. And for the oil I'm using native olive oil. I set the stove to the number 8, so 9 is the highest setting and number 8 is the second highest. If you take the highest setting, then it's too hot and the onions, they will fry too quickly. So you want to have a golden brown onion if possible. Now the onions are turning into a golden brown color, and now it's the time that we add the tomatoes. Okay, and you can already add the herbs right now, so the salt, the pepper, the thyme, marjoram, oregano and rosemary. Yeah, and if you want to, you can make the sauce spicy too, so that's just to your own personal liking. Okay, now we go back down with the heat to 4, number 4 or 4.5, and now we have to boil the tomato sauce for 20 minutes. Amy is waiting to get a walk, but she still has to wait a little bit. Good girl. Okay, so now it's time to prepare the oven. So in here I have a baking tray which is having this very high rim, and this is really important because we want to fill in some water into the tray. Okay, I think we need a little bit more water. And the water is important so that your glasses are not exploding inside of the oven. And if you don't have water inside of your baking tray, you have a very high chance of your jars cracking. Okay, this is good enough. Yeah, that's about 1/2 inch deep. Okay, now we want to preheat the oven. So we take over and underheat, and you want to use about 100 degrees Celsius. Alright, this is looking really good. Nice. So next we take the blender and we mix everything into a puree. Okay, we've mixed everything into a fine puree, and you might see some bits here and there, but that doesn't bother me. And now we will bring it to a boil for one last time. And finally we can fill the tomato sauce into the jars. Okay, now we set the timer to 45 minutes. Okay, with the rest of the tomato sauce we are going to cook something tonight. And now I will take Amy for a walk and we see each other in 45 minutes. We are officially done with the canning process and now let's take out the jars. Okay, so now our homemade tomato sauce is done, and this one is actually not seating perfectly because by accident I've moved the lip here into the closing system. So this is something that I would not store for a very long time in the basement, but the rest looks fine and you just have to make sure that they are really sealed. So this is the jar that we are going to use today for supper. And the other ones, they go into the basement for storage. Okay guys, so this is the classic recipe for a Italian tomato sauce, and I will keep canning tomatoes in the next few months, maybe twice a week or so. And yes, canning is a little bit of work and some people might prefer store-bought tomato sauce, which is okay, but it will never taste as great as homemade tomato sauce. Alright, so this is it guys, thank you for watching and stay tuned for next time.